Hey, Kurt, another week, another talk about basketball. Let's get right into it. The Atlanta Hawks fired Lloyd Pierce and promoted interim head coach Nate McMillan. What are your thoughts?
Uh, it's not a huge surprise. Look, there are two things you can't do. I mean, there's a long list of things that get you fired as an NBA coach. Like, it's huge. But, like, there's two things at the top of the list. A, have a good relationship with your star player. And B, keep ownership's expectations reasonable and then meet them. And they really didn't do those two things. Lloyd Pierce has had a rough relationship with Trae Young for a while. That's kind of been an open secret around the league. And apparently he's not the only one. Apparently other players were kind of ready to move on from the Lloyd Pierce era. And then the other part was, this is a team that spent money in the offseason. In comes Bogdanovich, in comes Danilo Gallinari, in comes Chris Dunn. Going back to Clint Capella at the last deadline, they had expectations of being a playoff team. And look, they're injured. There's a lot of things going wrong, but that's just not how ownership's going to see it. They're going to see, hey, man, we're 14-20. What's wrong with us? And Lloyd Pierce pays, fair or not, he pays the price for that. And frankly, if you're an NBA coach, life's not fair, man. It's just not.
Yeah, that's part of the responsibility, right? Like a captain with the ship, you go down. But it's interesting because last year, there were sparks of hope. And I think when you have a guy like Trae Young, who's so exciting, I think a similar kind of, you could almost, the parallel would be kind of LaMelo Ball in Charlotte this year, right? When you have a guy who's so much fun to watch, who has all these talents and can inspire a city like Atlanta. And think about the great teams that have been in Atlanta, right? So you're inspiring a city like Atlanta, and you give him pieces around him. And then this year it's like a flat line or even a dip. That is a concern. And I do think, I really respect Coach Pierce and everything he does off the court for, I mean, he's amazing. But I think in this little 2-year span that we're looking at, it's just a really tough thing. I'm not for mid-season coaching changes. I don't think that's ever a good thing because it's just discontinuity. But do you think they'll be able to bounce back and get into the playoffs this year?
I think so. Look, part of this will be credit to Nate McMillan. He's always gotten his guys to put out real effort on defense. And in the first game back, they put out better effort against Miami. Now, that's not what led them to the win. Frankly, Miami just missed shots. But to their credit, they played a lot harder on defense. I think you'll see that. But the other thing is simply they're going to get healthy. It's not like there's going to be this – they're just going to get healthy and right, and we can move forward from there. And we'll see if Nate McMillan keeps the job or if they go somewhere else. I'll say this, by the way. It is a fun debate point, like if you're playing thought exercises with people around the NBA. One of them is, how good a team can you really build around Trae Young? With his the defensive problems start at the point guard there, and you're trying to cover them up. It's up for discussion.
You think about other really great offensive players. You think about like Allen Iverson. You think about James Harden. It is a question that can you build around that type of player, or do you need to build around someone, like a LeBron James, like a Luka, who is more of a it's tough because, let's go back really quick, Kurt, because Trae Young can dish it now. He can involve other people with assists. So I guess what are your concerns around building a team around Trae?
It's more the defensive end. And it's like, if you're going to use the Steph Curry comp, Steph's a few inches taller, and Steph plays hard on defense. He tries. Now, does he get picked on defense? Yeah, because what were your other options? I'm going to go at Klay Thompson. I'm going to go at Draymond Green. I'm going to go at Kevin Durant. Like, the best option was to go at Steph Curry, but he's not a terrible defender. The question is, can Trae Young get to the point where, look, he's a little undersized. He's never going to be a great defender, but can he get to being a good enough team defender that's not a huge liability, and then the offense takes over? Because right now the defense is what is holding Atlanta back.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I'm excited to see Bogdanovich come back after missing 25 games because I think that will make a huge difference. But for me, I love Gallinari. I think that he's kind of a big part of that Atlanta. I mean, the Hawks offense is basically Trae Young being Trae Young or Gallinari hitting shots. So that's basically what it is.
Yeah. By the way, I failed to mention the other guy that you've got to talk about here. They really missed DeAndre Hunter. He had knee surgery. He's not going to be back till probably the end of March. He was playing their defense gets much better when you suddenly have a wing defender who can lock guys down, right? Like they just get better on that end. So I'm curious to see. I think Nate McMillan, when he gets this team healthy, can get them into the playoffs. Like, it's still bunched up in the East. They're less than 4 games out of being like safe from even having to play the play-in games. They can get on a run and get there.